Haunted Secret, final episode.
I lived in constant fear, never staying in one place too long. I was a ghost, moving through Benin's crowded streets, always looking over my shoulder. The Brotherhood's reach was vast, their grip on the city unshakable, but I had tasted freedom, and there was no going back. Ifwiko and Father Michael continued their work, gathering testimonies from the disillusioned members of the cult and spreading the word about the horrors of the Brotherhood. Every night, their names appeared in the papers, whispered in dark corners of cafes and markets, but the Brotherhood retaliated fiercely. One evening, I received a call from Ifwiko. "Osaro, it's time," she said, her voice tight. "We've got enough evidence. Tomorrow, we'll make our final stand." I took a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. "What do you mean?" "Tomorrow night, we're releasing everything," she replied. "All the names. All the crimes. We are going to expose the Brotherhood to the world. We can't hide anymore. You can't hide anymore." I sat in silence, the weight of her words sinking in. My entire life had been a series of half-truths, but now, there was no escaping the consequences of exposing the truth. The Brotherhood would come for me, of that, I was certain. But Ifwiko was right. The city was stirring. The walls of secrecy were starting to crack, and the people were ready to rise up. "All right," I said. "I'm with you." The plan was set. At midnight, Ifwiko would release the final piece of evidence, a video of the Brotherhood's leaders, caught in the act of planning an illegal arms deal. Father Michael would arrange a mass prayer session at the cathedral to rally the people. The streets would be filled with voices demanding justice. But the Brotherhood had their own plans. That night, as I stood in the shadows near the cathedral, waiting for the signal from Ifwiko, I felt a chill in the air. The streets were unnaturally quiet. The usual buzz of motorcycles and street vendors had died down. Something was wrong. Suddenly, the sound of distant sirens reached my ears. Panic gripped my chest. "They are coming," I whispered to myself. I checked my phone. No messages. No calls. Where was Ifwiko? I barely had time to react. A figure appeared at the end of the street, moving swiftly toward me. My heart skipped a beat. Emeka. He was alone, but the men who had once followed him were close behind. "Osaro," he called out, his voice low and dangerous. "You think you've won? You think you can destroy everything we've built?" I stepped back, my mind racing. There was no running. No escaping. I had to face him, or everything I had fought for, my family, the people who had trusted me, would be lost. "You're wrong," I said, trying to steady my voice. "This is over, Emeka. The truth will be heard. The people will rise." Emeka's eyes darkened. "The people. They've always been our pawns. You, of all people, should know that. You were one of us." I felt a rush of anger surge through me. "Not anymore," I spat. "I'm not like you. I never was." He lunged at me, his hands grabbing my collar, pushing me back against the wall. I struggled to break free, but his grip was ironclad. "You think you can walk away from us? You think you can just throw away everything we built?" His breath was hot in my face. "You're nothing without us, Osaro. And you die like the traitor you are." But before he could strike, a loud crash echoed in the distance. Emeka froze, his eyes flicking toward the sound. The street suddenly erupted in chaos, people shouting, cars screeching to a halt. I saw it then, Ifwiko, standing in the center of the road, holding a phone high above her head. "It's time, Emeka," she shouted, her voice clear and defiant. Behind her, a group of journalists, activists, and ordinary citizens surged forward, their faces filled with resolve. They had come. They had all come to stand with me, to fight for justice. Emeka hesitated, confusion and rage flashing across his face. "What have you done?" Before he could react, Father Michael appeared at the edge of the crowd, his voice rising in a powerful prayer. "God, give us strength to face this evil, to bring truth to light." The air seemed to crackle with the energy of the moment. The people of Benin, citizens, rebels, victims, had come together, united in their desire to end the Brotherhood's reign of fear. The tipping point had arrived. Emeka looked around, his confidence faltering. The Brotherhood was losing control. The people were awake, and their voices were louder than his threats. "We're not afraid anymore," I said, stepping forward. "You've lost." Emeka took a step back, his eyes burning with hatred. "This isn't over," he snarled. "It will never be over." But as he turned to flee, the crowd closed in, and the police, now fully informed by the release of Ifwiko's exposé, arrived to take control. Emeka was quickly surrounded, his path blocked by the very people he had sought to crush. The Brotherhood's grip on the city had finally broken. Days later, I stood in the heart of Benin City, the place that had once been my prison, now a symbol of defiance. The people of Benin had risen. The Brotherhood's leaders had been arrested, their secrets laid bare for all to see. The city was free. And so was I. It was not an easy victory, and the scars of the past would remain with me forever. But in that moment, as I looked out over the bustling streets, I realized something profound. I had finally reclaimed my soul, and in doing so, I had helped others reclaim theirs. The fight had been long, and it had come at a great cost. But in the end, truth had triumphed over darkness. And for the first time in years, I could finally breathe.